All right. So good morning, everyone, and welcome once again. We have on the line with us more Ahuvia from RSA, which is the security division of EMC. But more importantly, where more works over in Israel is their fraud action research labs. All right, and what they deal with is a lot of the security threats, trying to identify them each and every day. So more, what are we talking about today? Phone fraud.
Right, so today we're going to go into my second segment on phone fraud. Just to recap my last segment, as you may recall, we talked about smishing and phishing. And just to recap on what that's about, phishing is when you get a phone call that instructs you to dial in another number and hand in your personal details. And smishing is similar, except that you get a text message to a mobile phone, and then you either get a link to a malicious website, or you have some kind of message that again instructs you to dial in a fraudulent phone number. So today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different, which is mobile-based passwords, which is part of a bigger authentication scheme that's called out-of-band authentication.
Okay.
So let's just start with what out-of-band authentication means. Simply put, Joe, when we're saying out-of-band authentication, we're talking about communication with a bank that takes over more than one communication channel. So, for example, if I were to email you a secret password-protected letter and then send you that password, the password to that letter in a text message to your mobile phone, then I would be performing out-of-band authentication to make sure that you're really Joe and not just a fraudster who's gotten your email address and your password.
Hmm. Okay.
So communication over two channels. We have the online channels. I'm emailing you this secret letter, so I know you have the username and password to your email, and I'm also texting you this password to your mobile phone, so I know you must be in possession of your mobile device, and then making sure that it's you accessing that secret letter. So taking that to the online banking world, financial institutions perform out-of-band authentication all the time. They usually do this when we perform an online wire transfer. Just as a side note, banks based in the UK and Europe are much more likely to perform out-of-band authentication than US-based banks are. So let's take a look at a typical scenario of out-of-band authentication.
Well, hold on a
We
second.
go online banking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question for you. So, out of bound communications aren't a bad thing. All right, it's how people do business. But you're stating that Europe is more likely to do this than the United States. Can you tell me why?
Wow, I really don't have that answer to that. I wouldn't want to go into speculations.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Well, I'm just wondering only because you made a point of saying it's more likely to happen in Europe.
right. It just, from my experience, from what we see over here, it does look like, UK banks are targeted. It could be a currency thing, because the euro and the British pound are still somewhat stronger than the dollar. That may be some kind of, another layer. Maybe it's a usability thing. The U.S. merchants, from what I know, are much stronger when it comes to usability. They don't want consumers to get caught up in too many steps. They want everything to be very user friendly and easy to use, and that may be another concern for American financial institutions.
Okay. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot there, but you kind of
Okay.
you drew it up out of me. Sorry.
Hey, I do my best to answer what I can.
No, I know you can. I know you can. No, this is all on the fly. Go ahead, Maury. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So right, in a typical scenario, what you would be doing, you'd be going online, entering your transfer details. You're maybe making a transfer to a family member or utility provider, and then you would then receive a a password to your mobile phone, and then you would enter that password online, and that would enable you to complete the transfer. So over the past year, what we have been seeing at RSA, so this is a rather recent trend, we've seen a growing interest on the part of fraudsters to bypass these mobile-based passwords. One method fraudsters have found to bypass this form of out-of-bound authentication is by placing fraudulent call forward requests with the victim's mobile carrier. So what happens is that incoming calls or text messages, including mobile-based passwords, would be received to their own devices instead of the genuine consumers.
Is that a man-in-the-middle attack? Could it be considered that?
Not per se. You would have to. It would be part of a man-in-the-middle attack because you would have to be online while you get the password, but it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with online banking hijacking or online session hijacking.
Okay, session hijacking. Okay.
But just to clarify this, the fraudster would have to be online to do this.
Right.
So he would have to go online, enter, the transfer details, and then that would trigger the bank to send your device, your mobile number, a password. But man-in-the-middle is different because the fraudster doesn't have to actually hijack an ongoing session. In other words, you don't have to be online. You can be outside fishing, and the fraudster, as your user credentials, will be able to go online, access your account, and trigger that password to be sent to your mobile phone or to your mobile number. Now, in this case, the fraud scheme that we traced out of some others, as I said, involves placing a call forward request with your mobile carrier. So basically, if I'm a fraudster, Joe, all I would have to do is get my hands on your username and password. I could do that with a phishing attack or a Trojan attack, or just by buying your credentials online.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could go on, look up your mobile number, see what mobile carrier or provider handles your mobile service, and I would be able to call up that provider and ask, and impersonating you, I would ask all incoming calls and all incoming text messages to be forwarded to me, to the fraudster's device.
And thus the session is hijacked.
Right, and that what happens then is that I could complete a transfer. Exactly. So,
yep.
And just to further elaborate on this, we have been seeing quite a booming interest in this kind of bypassing of mobile-based passwords because it's becoming more common. Do you have some more time to get into that?
Yeah, I do. But why don't we just take a short commercial break here, and then we'll come back with more from Ahuvia from RSA's Fraud Action Research Labs over in Israel. Boy, just stand by. We're going to go to a short commercial.